So now we'll talk about CS and share our sad stories and troubles and pains and future expectations and blah, 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 blah. And for this, let me welcome Amitt on stage. He is Chief Customer Officer of Snapmint. He's been in GoQuick, MoEngage, and many, many companies. He's been in customer success all his life, and I think CCO for a very long time. He is also our band performer for today. Yes. He was here as a panelist last year, and we thought there is so much more that we need to really discuss with Amitt. And me and Amitt, we have been having some really amazing and very interesting discussions. So this time, we thought that for the keynote discussion, we'll call Amitt on stage. And guys, it's not going to be me asking question and Amitt answering it. It's not his exam or just an interview. It needs to be a discussion. So we would like, if you have something to contribute to the question, or if you think there is something that needs to be added, because what we are trying to do is to create a common knowledge base between all of us. Okay? So of course Amitt will lead, but please feel free to raise your hands and we'll get your mic and you would be more than happy to contribute to the topic that we are starting to discuss. So thank you, Amitt.
Thank you.
You are very talented. We love the song and dance. And guys, he practiced like half an hour before the event started. So people who came early must have seen both of them trying to like sort of set a rhythm. And I think the lyrics were written probably yesterday, correct?
I mean, customer success guys have been at the receiving end since forever, so it doesn't matter if the lyrics were written yesterday.
Is the mic working, Amitt?
Yeah, it's kind of...
Can you hear?
Can you guys hear me? I think right at the back.
Cool. So, Amitt, among many things, we'll start with, what do you think are the top 3 trends in customer success? And I think 10 days ago, G2 came with a survey recently where they started talking about some of the things, but the survey space or the people they talk to may be from a different category and space. So they are talking about that 67% of the people they interviewed already had sales quotas, right? Now, that could be because of the group of people they interviewed. Right. I want to know more from your point of view because you are looking at things from a very different lens. What do you think are the 3 trends that are currently that you see within the customer success space, because which is the space that we all share right now?
Yeah. Thanks for having me here. Before I get on to answering the question, must thank each and every one of you. When I and some of us, I see Raj is here, I see some of the other leaders. When we started our journey, there was no customer success. So you can imagine, some of us feel like, you know, how Sunil Gavaskar would feel when they look at people playing T20. When, you know, they had to do 2 jobs to play cricket, a daytime job, and then, right? So thank you so much for coming and being part of this. I don't know how much enriching it would be to listen from someone like me, but it would definitely be enriching to listen to what each of you have to say to each other, right? So with that, let's start. So answering the question straight to the point. Some of you already know this, you know, it won't be absolutely new, but the era or the age of being generalist is over. I think I kind of touched upon this even last time when I was here. And then why it's very important to, you know, understand and internalize this, because more and more, especially for folks who start their customer success journey, they would relate to this, that you end up becoming a bit of everything, right? A jack of all trades, right? So I think that's something that I would say that era is over, that trend is over. Okay. The second thing, now what do you channelize yourself? What do you align yourself with, right? I think the second big trend here is, as part of the macroeconomic, macro-social developments that you're seeing across SaaS and across other organizations which are like SaaS, like for example, I spent considerable amount of last couple of years working with GoQuick. GoQuick is something that caters to D2C commerce, so it's SaaS transaction, fintech. Snapmint, most of you are not the target group, but a little Google search will tell you that it caters to solving for the, credit crunch for tier 2, tier 3. So what we end up seeing is the alignment of success managers to be subject matter experts, right? And then it's so funny, when I was starting my career, some of us were starting a career, we had a clear path to choose from. Sometimes we would come from customer support and then become customer success. Sometimes we would come from account management, sales, revenue kind of roles, and then go to customer success. What did not normally happen is the alignment with product management, solutioning, right? Pre-sales. So I think this is new. The vestiges of just support or revenue ownership has now metamorphed into how much product first thinking, how deeply analytical you can be, right? So that's the second thing. The last part, the third part, and again, very important, is the time that you would get to value is very short. When you onboard a new customer, they quickly want to see the ROI, right? A customer success manager would get that tiny amount of a honeymoon period, right? Okay, abhi to aaya hai, it's like new. I would get my sweet time. I'll introduce myself 10 times, maybe have a coffee, and then they're going to ask me the difficult questions. No, they probably ask you the difficult question right after, the sales guy says, hey, start onboarding, right? So that's the big change. Don't expect that buffer that you used to get. It can be very dangerous, right? So you've got to be on the customer the moment they start onboarding, right?
So let me just ask the audience on top of that. Are you guys seeing that, your department is sort of taking various roles and therefore the need for very focused specialization, which Amitt is talking about, like not becoming a generalist, but somebody's kind of a retention specialist, somebody's focused on customer marketing. Is that happening? Is there anything that is changing in your role, in your organization that you would like to talk about? Or any trends that you think we have missed? Please do tell your name and the company you come from. It gives us a little bit of context, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Gauthami. I am the senior manager in Condlo. I'm sure that Amitt also would know what Condlo does. So to add to Amitt, actually, I feel like a lot more have changed into a consultative approach. So unless you're a customer and you can guide your customer in their business and kind of give the points, a lot of consultative approach is what my point was, and I think that is something that I would like to add on.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anyone else? Oh.
So, hi, my name is Sumit. I work for Upgrade B2B Business. I came in between the discussion, I'm so sorry. But the point which you just said that, giving the buffer, which actually create a lot of difference between the customer. And, the worst part about this is, sales guy might think sometime here that, CS are not working according to the salesperson. And that actually creates a big bridge between the sales and the CSM. One point I want to add here, the thing which we are doing different, we are kind of making a case study for every customer. What are the do's and don'ts? Okay, what are the learning from that customer? And later on, we publish the do's and don'ts and the learning with the salespeople, so that the similar kind of thing can be shared or implement across other new customer or new prospective customer, which actually making a big difference. Thank you.
That's a good thing. You said your name was? Sorry. Sumit. Thank you, Sumit. Thank you very much. There's one also very, very interesting point that Amitt said. And I really want to know how many of you are currently tracking time to value in your business. Can you raise your hands? Okay, I think Amit, you should say something here.
Right.
And how important this metric is in the current context of things.
Sure. Now, time to value, I think I don't have to educate people. Everybody knows what time to value here is. Some of you work for platform SaaS here. Some of you guys work for performance SaaS. And some of you work for things in between, right? Now, time to value keeps changing in its allegiance. Like, for example, if you're with performance SaaS, your time to value has a very tight coupling with ROI. Instantly, people want to know if you've spent $1, how fast and in what multiple do we get the return, right? The same takes the allegiance to adoption in the form of a platform SaaS. Like when you're thinking of platform SaaS, it's like how many, I don't know, maybe you use Mixpanel or something else qualitative to check it out, the adoption metrics, right? So it keeps varying from genre to genre of SaaS and sometimes not even SaaS. Like in my industry, it's something else entirely, right? Like if you're on the Paytm side of the world or the fintech side of the world, it is how much of GMV or GTV you add on top of the line, right? So I think that's what it is. No one-size-fits-all approach. And especially guys who are working for scale-ups and startups where these things are not well defined. You don't have the luxury of some leader having walked that path and you walk down the beaten path. This is something that it's amazing to experiment early in your career, right? So I think increasingly I keep pushing people that explore your TTV, explore the definition, the contours of your TTV, and then just own it, right? That's what it is.
See, every other article that I read online, I read about value and outcomes. And this is one of the metric that derives from there, you know. And I think that is something which is one of, in my opinion actually, I believe that that is one of the biggest trends of next few years, where as a group, CS will evolve into defining these outcomes and value points and having metrics eventually on top of that. You know, a lot of B2C companies have already done it and they're very standard. Like we all know, right? Facebook, somebody makes a new account, they have 7 friends attached and they think they will never leave, right? So that's one of the time to value metrics, and it's very simpler when there are smaller and simpler apps. We know it's a little complex for B2B SaaS and it needs to be defined contextually. And I hope that next year when we meet here, we would have had a very good road and we would have more hands up here where people are tracking this metric. Anybody who's doing anything different or you want to contribute? Yes, please.
Yeah, hi. This is Hitesh here. Some of you know me through my LinkedIn post. So, yeah. So, okay. So, adding on to that, one trend which is going on, I don't know if it's there in the mid-sized organizations or startups or not, but with enterprise organizations. So, I belong from an enterprise organization. So, there is a practice called business value. Okay, when you talk about value, so there is a separate practice called business value, which works from the pre-sale stage, and they work on the big ticket sales projects. So whenever there is a big ticket sale happening, they work along with the sales team, the account managers and the complete sales team, and they talk to the CCO, the CXO level people at the customer end. They make presentations, they do a complete study of the use cases of the customer, and they try to provide why they should buy the product, your product, and what value that product will add to their organization, and they try to quantify that value. So this business value practice is getting prominence a lot in the enterprise segment. I don't know if the same thing is happening in the startup space or not, but in the enterprise segment, definitely, this is a going trend going on. So in the future also, I think this is going to take off to a large extent.
Thanks, Hitesh. We'll check back next year again where we have reached and how it has changed within our industry. So moving on. Oh, there's somebody who's raised his hand. Can you pass on the mic? And then we'll take the next topic.
Well, Deep again. So one of the things that we are doing currently is to basically track value realization. Well, I relate to what Hitesh said, that we need to basically map the customer's expectation with the outcomes. But what we have done is like, we go back to the customer and we ask them a question like, what kind of value have you derived after we have gone through the motions? It could be 6 months down the line, it could be a year down the line, depends upon the product and the cycle, right? So we have defined two kinds of values here, qualitative, quantitative. While we have been able to get a lot of value summaries and insights on a quantitative level, we are trying to evolve a procedure or maybe some sort of a framework that would give us a quantitative outcome. Because customers, what I have seen, would basically refrain from approving a quantitative value, because that basically helps us, the vendor, to go back to the customer and say, hey, this is what is the value that you have derived, and why not expand to other sides of the business, right? So this is what we have been doing, and it's on a dynamic scale, actually. It's not like a named CSM kind of a thing where you are attached to an account for, let's say, a year or maybe 2 years, 3 years. It's like you get into the model, you do what you need to do, you basically help the customer go live, go through the motions, and then you derive that value, then you quantify that value, and then come out. So this is how the model has worked for us, actually.
Thank you. I think me and Amitt will both agree we love quantification, numbers and data.
I was about to come to that. I think it might not be a popular opinion, but I've seen that you need tremendous data analysis skills. You need to have the love to get into data, to be able to sometimes look for trends which are not easily available. Again, I speak not so much where you're talking of the Adobes and the Salesforce of the world. There, it's pretty much like everybody has done it already, yes, right? Yes. You click a button, you get. But this is more for people where these things are not already established, like scale-ups and startups, where you have to get your hands dirty. And I think sometimes we end up taking the help of analysts. Right? Sometimes they're called data analysts, product analyst. I mean, something as simple as, if I ask folks here, how many of you can run an SQL query? Can I see some hands? So that's part of the problem, right? So I think we need to be more data savvy.
We all need to, learning how to read data is kind of as basic skill as learning Excel in the kind of work we do, or being able to make a presentation. Unfortunately, it has become part of our job, and all of us need to start understanding data at least. You don't need to be experts, but you should be able to understand data when somebody presents you with some kind of numbers and trends, and to be able to ask the right questions. I think that level of understanding of how to read data is kind of becoming very, very important. Yeah. Moving to the next question, Amitt. Now, it's not going to be very different, right? There are only so many things we all worry about. But still, we will try to interact. And the idea is, some things we contribute and a lot of things you guys contribute, because I strongly believe that there is intelligence in different pockets and you all are trying to innovate something or the other. And the idea is, in this forum, to share as much as we can and to learn from each other. So the next point that I really want to raise is, what are the challenges that we are facing? We'll talk on only top 3. As a group in our customer success space or in our workspace today. Now, I know what the world says. We all read those researches and trends and everything that comes out. But I don't want to know that. I'm sure all of you are more than capable of going on LinkedIn and reading it. What I really want to know is, as a group here, coming from India, Bangalore, different cities, what exactly are we facing?
Got it. Customer success managers, I'm straight away getting to the point. Customer success managers in many organizations don't have a very long productive trajectory as folks have in product management or engineering and tech. I'll explain what I mean. What ends up happening is, as you grow older and your organization starts scaling up, you need to be a force multiplier, which means that what you're doing today, if you're not doing that, and you really move up, not just as a people manager, your impact grows in the organization. A lot of time, what ends up happening is a very good success manager has a very good set of book of business, and somebody's like, okay, if I move this guy up or sideways, whatever, who's going to take care of this? The same challenges don't happen with product. The same challenges don't happen with tech. So, how does a CSM or success management professional continues to stay relevant and they grow? And not just people manage.
So let's ask this question to Amitt. You are a CCO. What happened to the juniors who were under you? Where are they? How are they growing? What did you do about it?
They had to find other jobs. No, but that's not the politically right, not the right answer.
We want to know the truth.
So there is always the path where you people manage. You have more people, and then the people management path. Everybody here knows what that is, right? But that's not what I'm talking about, right? It's like, how do you impact more? So one of the things that I've experimented, don't claim to be a success entirely, is most organizations suffer from retention of tribal knowledge, right? If you're a big organization, yes, you'll have this fancy internal wikis, you can go search things, whatnot. But then those are again static. Somebody's solved for a few things, dumped it there, you do a keyword search, you get them. But then knowledge is evolving every other day. So what helps is, some of the places I've been able to create a knowledge center and call that team, it always starts with one individual, who's the internal subject matter expert, right? So it's a center of excellence, I call it. And then it's not easy because not all organizations have the culture of democratically sharing knowledge, right? So why would somebody take up a role or team like that only to be the owner of best practices, only to be owner of the operations? So that's one thing which elevates everybody at the same time, right? So you create a center of excellence, and this is me talking mostly to the leaders. I know it's not a success manager or a senior success manager cannot do it, but that's one way where you ensure that the team lifts up, and then people don't end up thinking that, okay, if we move someone out who's doing a good job, then who do we fill it with? So it's a child, let's keep him there. Right?
I absolutely understand, Aman, and thank you for being candid. So in my previous startup, that's very similar, but in a slightly different way. So what we used to do was, we had a group of people, so it was a different world, it was an apparel domain. So we used to have training sessions to understand the domain, that's one. Apart from that, we used to have battle story sessions. So every month we would schedule a battle story sessions where people would talk about the mistakes they made and what they learned. And we would document. There was one person whose job is to write those story in the language, like does not has to be a formal language, it does not have to be a corporate presentation. It has to be the way me and you were casually chit-chatting about it. So it used to have the way the story was written, it used to be like some fun jokes, it used to have some flowery languages, whatever else happened during the time. But what it resulted in is people used to read it, because it's written in a very, very simple way where me and you talk, and you don't have to really work hard to make it pretty. And it resulted into huge amount of knowledge being accumulated. Anyone else that has done something different in the effort of what we're talking about? Okay, let's move on to the second challenge.
I think one of the things that, and again, I'm mostly not talking of macro, I'm definitely not talking about the layoffs.
Yes,
I'm not talking,
yes.
Everybody can read about it, knows about
I
it.
do want you to talk about sometime about the huge trend that we all are seeing, and I'm sure a lot of people are scared of, is the load of revenue and sales quota coming our way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might come this year, it might come 2 years down the line, but there's a lot of talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys want to hear about the revenue
Yes,
side of
please.
things? Okay.
Do
Awesome.
we? Do we want him to talk about that?
Okay.
Is that something you're worried?
Okay, so this again, taking a leaf out of my own book, sometime in the past, I know maybe 8 years ago, I was country managing the revenue for this company called Unboxed that later got acquired by Netcore. So although I've spent considerable amount of time doing customer success, I have also carried quota. I've seen that journey, right, where you live and die every quarter, right? That's essentially what it is. I strongly believe that that is to be embraced, and if, I'm sure, like again, let me see some hands. How many of you guys have been carrying quotas or like have revenue targets here? Okay, that's like 25%, both hands. That counts as 25%, okay. Awesome, awesome. And now this is my question to the same people again. Are you guys, okay, how many of you here carry quota or have some revenue responsibility, but also are expected to work like a product manager? You have to talk a lot about features, a lot of solutioning, okay. Okay, you guys are special, right?
You get into product discussions all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, so facilitating is one thing, but thinking like a product guy. So you guys are special, let me tell you that. And you guys are like those guys who can write with both hands and eat with left and the right hand. So you guys are special, right, in the right sense of the word. So coming back, so I think that's the other challenge I see, that quite often, whether implicitly or explicitly, your organizations would put the gun to your head and would want you to choose. So choose well, and when I say choose well, align your aptitude, align what appeals to you, and I believe everybody should equip themselves with a basic understanding of what a medic sales cycle is. If you tomorrow end up experimenting, and if you're not more than 6 years into your career, fantastic. I mean, raise your hand up and say, fine, I'll carry a quota. I'll do sales. My only advice is, let's not get stuck into where again, you raise your left hand and say, I'll do sales, and you raise your right hand and say, oh, I'm going to be your semi-product guy. Don't do that. Like, don't kill yourself. But then revenue is something which is very by your own choice. Nobody is going to be like, okay, do customer success and revenue. If a push comes to a shove, change for a year or two. Do proper selling. You'll love it.
This is, thank you.
It is
Basically what he's saying is, it is what it is. It's coming your way. Be prepared, start reading, start learning, and when it comes your way, don't run away. Yes, it's an opportunity, and it is an expectation, and it has its challenges, but it also comes with its perks.
Yeah, I mean, embrace it. It's great. I am sure nobody here thinks you'll be worse off if you become an AE tomorrow. I mean, it's equally good. It's better, I would say.
Amitt, as a CCO, do you have quotas, or do you have revenue responsibilities?
Yeah,
let's
of course,
say that.
Of course. I mean, everybody here understands upsell, cross-sell. Yes. Yeah. And sometimes, not only through upsell, cross-sell, organically, I mean, as success managers, I think all of us here are responsible for ensuring that our product is implemented 100%. Our product is used 100%. Our product is understood 100%. That alone gives you an uplift in revenue, right? So you don't have to necessarily go and sell something like a new line item. If people end up using your product to the fullest, the revenue goes up, right? So that's the first step in being revenue first. And then if you like it, by all means, switch.
Switch either way. You have दो रास्ते हैं. Plane से उतरने के दो रास्ते हैं, विमान से उतरने के दो रास्ते हैं. So have a look at both. Plan your future, because we see the trends that move and trends that come in your day-to-day working are something you generally see, especially in CS space. It does not take very long. It's changing very, very fast. For other divisions, maybe the trends come after a year. But in CS, like I was surprised to see the recent survey, 67% people have quotas, 25% have quotas in this room. So the way these things are coming, they're coming very fast as a change. So it's important for all of us to learn and educate. The third and most important challenge or opportunity, you call it, that's coming our way, and I think that is something, it's the elephant in the room. We got to talk about it. AI. That is, everybody's talking about it. What I need to know, Amitt, is, it's very easy to say, yes, AI will do this and AI will do that. In practical terms, where exactly do we feel it's actually going to help us in our day-to-day functionality?
Got it.
Instead of, being that this is going to take a job and doing all that nonsense of ghostly stuff, I don't want to talk about that. But I want to talk about what do you think or do you see happening right now from a practical terms which can actually help our work on a day-to-day basis.
Got it. I think by and large, again, unpopular opinion, but by and large, AI is a buzzword, right? For most of us. See, we are not working on natural language processing. We guys are not data scientists. We are not writing AI models today, right? So I assume our understanding, largely this group, is either anecdotal or something that we've read. Some unfortunate souls might have worked in a company with a .ai extension, such as me. I spent 2.5 years at Observe AI. It's into speech analytics. Building the customer success function in the US. I think from whatever I know of AI, whatever I've read, I've experienced it in the products that I've sold and worked with, general AI is years away. There is no general AI. It's all rule-based at best. And then I think an individual, like a customer success manager, in his or her individual capacity, would not be today, at least, the driving force or a catalyst to AI adoption. It would be some random POC done at some level in the organization. And I think a lot of hit and misses and trials would happen before you find AI in your hands to play with. So I think we can push this for later.
Yeah, we have more challenges to handle before this.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, we can all improve our LinkedIn posts and emails through ChatGPT. That probably everybody already does.
Yeah. And there's no harm in familiarizing yourself.
Of course.
It adds to an extra line in your resume. And if you can talk about it convincingly, amazing. But I don't think so you're going to find it in your work very soon. I know some people might agree, disagree. We can go around the room if people have seen an active adoption.
Anyone has seen? Yes, there's someone here. Thirdeep, there's somebody on the back and somebody this side. Anyone who's seen active adoption of AI in your job?
Yeah, means we haven't seen any active adoption of it, but definitely I would like to say that it's not very, very far as Amitt is saying, but because generative AI can be used in a lot of ways, like we were talking about growth of anyone in the org, right? So for growing, there should be like, for example, growth can be like handling 30 accounts to 60 accounts. So generative AI, when you start using it, you can templatize things, you can do things quicker, and then you can take extra responsibilities and then can move forward. How we can do it, probably we can talk at length, but definitely it can help you to save your time, be more productive, which we can definitely start experimenting.
Yeah, we all agree it can help. Yeah. We are just waiting when. But thank you.
Yeah, but I think
I'm Anupran.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. I think I think I'm with Anupran that if you use it into your daily life, that's great. But I think coming back to the concern that is it going to replace you? No, man. I mean, you have a lot more other things to worry about.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Parvez. I work with Whatfix as a customer success manager. So I know AI is not a concern for the CSMs as such, but I have a question where all the CSMs here will know that churn is our biggest concern, right? Measuring health scores. analyzing data to ensure which customer is going to churn or not. At its present stage, and considering you are a customer success platform, I thought this would be a good question for you guys. At this stage, can we analyze data and predict churn, bring predictive models on churn, and understand what can we do to save that customer 6 months before we get the customer tells us whether they're going to churn?
Short answer is yes. And there's a lot of nuance around it, which means how your data is put together, how much data is available. It's very easy to say, we can predict churn with data. Yes, but the key word in that sentence is data. How much data do you have? What is the context? And there's a lot around it. And how much confidence factor is there in terms of prediction? This is my second startup. My first startup was basically predicting through AI how much material will be consumed in making a shirt for a different factory for every order. So yes, if you have good quality data and if you have that information right, yes, that prediction can be done. And hopefully we are trying, we are already doing something, and maybe we can show you someday how good it is or not is something for you to decide, but we believe we are doing well. So let's see where it goes. And data analytics, yes, it will help CS, but the day-to-day job of CS is still on your hands. I think it's not automating. And it's important to focus for us, since you have asked a question directly. For us, it's important for us to not go with the flow of, the noise of the world, that we should all have AI in the system. Yes, we should have, but what should be the sequence of priority? And the first sequence is exactly what you said. That's where the AI should start working firstly to create better predictions. Rest of it, yes, it should also be added, and eventually we will. Mans, do you want to add something? No. Just be the band for today.
So, I'm Vijay. I was working with Pipe Candy. So we are an e-commerce intelligence, basically a data company. So just to answer a question, like in a company with thousands of accounts and where it's a volume game, so we use basic prescriptive analytics to measure churn. So usually what happens is you don't measure and work towards churn during that month. You need to predict it at least 3 months before, so that you can work for the account, you can nudge the product team, you can nudge the sales team, you can nudge the founder, and as you said, right, we all had targets, and it's a circular economy inside the company. Basically, when you are working in an enterprise account, or when you are dealing with a ticket size of $100,000 or $150,000, it's all about nudging people and getting your features done and moving things forward for a particular account once in a month. So we used to track the activities across different accounts. We used to measure the red flags, and we used to link all this data back to the Scrum so that the development happens.
Thank you, thank you. I have just been told we are talking too much and we are running out of time. I would have loved to have this session. I'm really enjoying it. We would continue this in the networking sessions because there is networking post panel and there's another session. But I would love to have you all, if you have time, please stay back, have a chat. Amitt and me, you're around, right? So we are around, and of course would like to learn more, and hopefully all of you are added to the group, and we'll continue our conversations and learn more. Thank you, Amitt. I had 20 other questions.
Thank you. No, I think we're good.
I had 20 other questions to ask, but maybe some other day. As I said to a few people today, CS people are very chatty. We love to talk. We can talk for hours.
Yeah.
But thank you very much, guys. Thanks a lot. And thank you for all the insights and contributions.
Appreciate it. Thank you.